Hey beautiful humans, I'm Dani Aravietz and I am a vulnerability and sensitivity and connection coach, and I teach people to shamelessly claim their emotional selves, their hearts, and share them with the world so they can have deeper relationships and more connected relationships. So I, in my previous video, have talked about one of the high core needs of a sensitive human. So us humans that feel a lot, that experience a lot of emotions within ourselves, experience other people's emotions, so we're empathic, often feel the collective emotions of the world, etc., and how we operate when we're like this. And to start with, I introduced one of the core needs of safety in a previous video. This video, I want to talk about one of the core needs that I decided is connection. And this is an interesting one because we each have a couple of patterns to do with connection. I would define it as, is it connection to self or is it connection to other? And ultimately, you could say we need to connect to ourselves before we can connect to other people. It's like putting our own oxygen mask on first before we help others. Like, take care of you before you take care of others. Like, that's the right way to do it, right? So, self-connection first and then connect to others. Yet, when we have a need to take care of ourselves in order to thrive as a sensitive, and the need is connection, it's really important, moment to moment, day by day, week by week, to ask, like, how do I need to connect right now? And it can change. I think, and I want to bust this myth that connection is just like an introvert or an extrovert thing. It's like, oh, I need to go inward, so I need to connect with myself all the time. Or you're an extrovert, so you connect to others and are social and are good with people, and I'm not that. I really want to bust this either or, I'm one or the other thing, this black or white kind of thinking, and introduce the grey when it comes to this and this connection need. There's a spectrum. Sometimes we do need to connect to people and sometimes we need to connect to ourselves. And I also would like to introduce the idea that there's different reasons why these different types of connection, or for this different type of connection. One of them is, how are you connecting, and to who, to soothe yourself? And how are you connecting, and to why? And why are you energizing yourself? And so this comes back to, do you go inward and connect to yourself, or need to right now or at any point? Or do you need to reach out to and connect to others? An example would be that, a personal example, is like if I just called myself an introvert and I was like, I just need to connect to myself for a really long amount of time. And I've trialed this and it didn't work. When I need to soothe, I do need to go inwards, and I often need a lot of space. So this need of connection is a need for self-connection in this instance, in this example. So I need some space, I need some time, I need people to just leave me alone. Sometimes it's just for a short time. Like, if people give us this, like, if we give ourselves the permission for really, really deep, proper, like, quality connection, rather than just, like, dribs and drabs, stuff can shift really fast. It's when we don't give ourselves quality connection that the shit, i.e. the emotional turmoil, vulnerability, difficulty, sadness, depression, whatever, anxiety, panic, stays around for longer. So I argue, like, go deep into self-connection to get the real, like, juice of it. And it can be the hardest thing to do because, I don't know about you, but when I'm in my shit, it's really painful and really horrible, and I don't want to be in it. So I try and get out really fast. But the goal is to stay in it and to really deeply self-connect. Sometimes I will literally, like, force myself to stay in bed all day, and it's horrible and I hate it and I want to distract by social media. I just hate it, but I just force myself. And at the end of the day, after feeling horrible all day, I usually come out the other side and I'm like, okay, I didn't die. This is okay. But this is the soothing part. This is the needing to connect to self to soothe. And then, this is my experience previously, and I've heard about this from clients as well. When I thought that I needed to be an introvert and still self-connect to re-energize after I'd, like, got to that tipping point of, like, okay, I've soothed. So I stayed alone. I stayed self-connecting for a longer time. My mood spiraled downwards and downwards and downwards, and I felt depressed. and really low, because I was forcing myself to self-connect when what I actually needed at that point is to go outside and connect to others, to re-energize, because that's how I energize, is get energy from being around people and get inspiration and get joy and get laughter and just even still cry, but be in the presence of someone who brings me out of myself. And so this is what I wanted to highlight as a core need for sensitives of connection is it to yourself or is it to others? So being really mindful at what stage in your emotional journey or process it needs to be you or others. When do you need to reach out for an ear or for someone to hear you? And I'll talk in subsequent videos about how to do that as well, and how to share your emotions and how to create containers and spaces so that you feel safe and you feel certain and you have the level of validation and of support that you need to support you. But for now, I just really want you to consider, what are your connection patterns when it comes to self-soothing and energizing as a sensitive person? What's your, do you stuff it up sometimes, like me, and stay by yourself for too long and you should really be around other people to re-energize and get your mood up? Or do you maybe stay around a lot of people at the sacrifice of yourself and your alone time, and you actually need to be by yourself and you need to draw a boundary and cut that off? So starting here, one of the high core needs of a sensitive is connection. And is that to self or is that to other? Start to consider that for yourself, what you do, what you don't do, what you desire coming up or in future. If this video has sparked anything that you're like, wow, I needed to hear that, or shit, I do that and I don't want to do that anymore, or whatever it might be for you. Let me know in the comments any questions, any thoughts, what your patterns are. I'd love to hear. Share this around, and I'll be back with the next video soon. Lots of love. Mwah.